Bonjour, welcome to Fully Charged. I'm in France. We're in this amazing building just outside Versailles, owned by Renault. It's called the Techno Centre. It's one of the maddest looking retro architectural buildings I've ever seen. I love the grounds. There's lakes, there's bulrushes, there's fish, but we're not here for that, although it is nice. We're going to be going in here because they've invited us to come and see a concept. And all they've told us is that it's a last mile delivery vehicle, possibly autonomous. So here it is, this is the Renault Easy Pro concept. This is the second concept in a trilogy, they say, of autonomous vehicles like this. So we had the Easy Go, which was focused around passengers. We've got the Easy Pro, which is an autonomous cargo carrying vehicle. It's got a removable pod on it. We've got two in the design studios which are showcasing the possibilities. The one behind us has a coffee shop on one side, and on the other side has lockers that you can open via an app to collect goods, like Amazon, for example. This one here has actually got ambulance facilities on it, and the front is open, like the sort of cargo ferry, the car ferry mouth of the Easy Go, and that's where the driver will go. I say driver, yes, it can be driven at slow speeds to do any intricate manoeuvring or if there's adverse weather conditions or in an emergency. But basically what they're saying, what Renault has said in that presentation is a delivery driver is not going to be called a driver anymore. They're going to call them a concierge because their job title will change because they won't be driving. When the car is travelling from point to point, they will be able to do other work. Because these are going to be autonomous, the idea is they'll be used as much as possible. A bit like, imagine a modern day taxi which is shared amongst drivers. One driver will get out, the engine's still warm and running, another driver gets in, the driver goes home to bed because they're humans. This will probably be running some 20 hours a day, and as a result, Renault are trying to focus their efforts on inductive charging. Down there, there'll be induction charging for all that start-stop slow driving that it does. Remember, this is a last mile vehicle. They're saying that the concierge will be there to do last meter deliveries. In other words, people still think that having a parcel handed to them by hand, by human, is quite important, and that's what Renault have said in this presentation today. This one I'm standing outside is a coffee shop, a pop-up coffee shop, which actually looks really cool. You've got seats in here and fold-out tables, obviously a fancy coffee machine going on in there, with the hatch that lifts up, like you see so many Citroën H vans and Renault, vintage Renault vans. I can see this really working. Inductive charging down there, it'll have a plug as well as a backup. And up there, which I can't see, apparently there'll be solar panels because this will be travelling around at slow speeds, got very flat, large roof, perfect for solar charging. Well, the last time I talked to you, we were sat in the Easy Go.
Correct.
Inside that lovely cabin for multiple people.
Yeah, now we're having a coffee.
Now we're having a coffee under the hatch of Easy Pro.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And I am actually enjoying a real coffee, so excuse me.
Yeah, so we moved on. To make a long story short, Easy Go was part of our trilogy of concept cars that we do this year, also because we exist 120 years, so we celebrate this by looking straight ahead.
Yeah.
And mobility services covers a vast field of potential applications. So Easy Go was to transport people in a city, short distances, social, very transparent. Easy Pro is more the commercial application. So this is not for you and I to buy this vehicle, but it's more for companies like transportation companies or the post or whoever wants to transport goods or services.
Yeah.
And so this is an application where you have a robo vehicle as a little train, if you will, and you have a special leader pod where there is a concierge, because we are in France, who is taking care of the delicate goods, the valuable goods, the more emotional goods.
Yeah.
And then the third part of the trilogy, this will cover the more premium, more personal, more precious part of the spectrum. So with this trio, we think we can really show the potential of what the world of tomorrow could look like.
Renault are the leaders in all electric commercial vehicles in Europe. They've got 43% of the market share. Forget these wheels and forget these tyres and probably forget these mudguards. This is concept car, flights of fantasy. That's not the important bit. The important bit is what goes on here and what this skateboard platform, which so many manufacturers are now coming up with, allows. What's great about this nice platform, it allows you to be so creative with the pod that goes on top. This is now no longer a driver's seat, it's now an office environment.
It's kind of an electric battery platform, standard platform, on which we drop, in this case, multiple modules, in which you can have a coffee or transport goods, or do an EasyCo, or the third one of the range. But the idea is that sooner or later in the day, probably the Easy Pro will go by its hub again, either exchange the battery, charge it again, can also be charged with a quick charger, or even exchange the batteries depending on what the system is, and then can do its round again. So it's a system that, frankly, in this sense, the companies that deliver goods are much more advanced than you and I think, and they are. If we had a solution of this tomorrow that works, they would grab it with both hands.
Renault already dominate the LCV market, as they said, like commercial vehicle market. You've got the Twizy Cargo, you've got the Zoe commercial vehicle, you've got the Master, you've got the Kangoo, all of these are now electric. So this makes sense to move into this realm. 300 kilometre range, they say, and Renault have said they're partnered with DPD. DPD, the delivery company, deliver 4.8 million parcels a day. 4.8 million parcels a day, and they're collaborating with data and what DPD would be able to use in a day-to-day situation. What would be useful for them in a new style vehicle, what wouldn't be useful. Well, DPD is the partner that Renault has chosen to work with, isn't it? And I can't believe the stat on the presentation, 4.8 million parcels every day in Europe.
And they think it will be going up because people order more and more through e-commerce. So they go on the website and they order their stuff online. And if they are like my daughter, they don't like to wait and they want everything immediately. And so what you will get is an increase of delivery services and needs in cities. And if we don't find alternative solutions to the ones that we have today, where you always need a driver, a big van, and one package, this might cause problems in the long run for the cities.
Renault has talked about a leader pod and a platoon of followers. The idea being one of these will have, I guess, the leading software and the leading GPS. The other ones will follow like worker bees, and they can deviate and go off route and do drop-offs and pickups of other stuff, but ultimately up to 4 will follow the leader. In other words, no more than 5 will follow in convoy at any one time. Otherwise it becomes a sort of road train, which is inconvenient. You can see on this side, if you've ever been to a supermarket and seen these Amazon lockers which are popping up, where you can unlock them and get your stuff out, this is the same principle, but this is mobile. And when this is empty or when there's an issue, it can go back, autonomously drive back to its own depot to be restocked. I've just ordered a new watch, let's just say, jewellery. I have the app, it tells me where this is based, as in it's parked here in the town. I go to it, I find it, I press a thing, it says the drawer 37 will open. Press, 37 drawer will open. Oh look, there's the thing that I bought that I probably shouldn't have bought. I can go home, it knows that I've signed for it or confirmed it, job done. Renault, one of the oldest car manufacturers in the world, is 120 years old, I think has always been best when it does utilitarian stuff. Up to the war, the Second World War, it was more about glamour really and luxury, but now Renault's more about decent utilitarian designs. It's difficult to pull off. Last mile, fully autonomous vehicles make sense to me. I'm a little bit scared about autonomy. Robert's a little bit more enthusiastic about it than me. I'm a driver. I love driving. This, last mile, big spaces, parcel delivery, I can see this actually being a reality, ignoring the wheels and tyres. So there you have it, that is the future of autonomous delivery. Okay, I've got to go now, I'm busy delivering fictitious parcels to the future. All right, sorry, but I'm not a driver anymore, I'm a concierge.
Two weeks later.
It's been a couple of weeks since I sat next to the Easy Pro with Lauren, and now we're at the Paris Motor Show, and now we're at the third and final concept of these three vehicles. And as you can see, it's opening up to greet us. I'll move with it, don't you worry.
And I'll sit over here.
Wow, the Easy Ultimo.
We said this is the key of an exclusive experience.
So very similar silhouette to the Easy Go,
but much lower.
but lower.
Because we wanted to create a strong presence in the street.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing with exclusive vehicles, they need to look impressive and discreet at the same time.
Yeah.
So by
Which is
making it
hard.
lower, it looks impressive, but you can also look, it doesn't block your view, you know? And inside, you're much more intimate, you know? You're
Yes.
enclosed, you're more centered on each other. You can
Yeah.
have a chat, actually. We didn't want to bother you with screens everywhere, because we say, you know what, if you want to have an exclusive experience, a luxury experience,
Yeah.
you have time, you don't have to work, as
Yeah.
a matter of fact.
There's a couple of awesome features in this car. For a start, I've noticed the Renault Diamond as a kind of privacy blind.
We were inspired by the Prada store in Tokyo, in Omotesando, which is done by Rem Koolhaas, a famous Dutch architect. And it is kind of like sunglasses, so it's polarizing from the outside, so you can't look through.
Okay.
But from inside to outside, you can actually see everything.
Yeah.
And it's quite luminous, say, versus the front. But of all the three vehicles, this is the one that gives you the most cozy, most intimate experience.
So the idea, going back to the purpose of this car, I remember you saying to me that this is the sort of thing that maybe a high-end hotel could have a fleet of in a city like London or Paris, and it could come and get you from the airport. I've just come from Charles de Gaulle. It could have got me and brought me here.
Exactly, because we don't see this as a vehicle that you would buy
Okay.
as a personal owner.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole point of mobility services is that you don't own the vehicle,
Yeah.
and that you can access whatever mobility you need at any given time.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Twizy for if you want to cross through town, whether it's a Zoe if you want to do some shopping
Yeah.
with your family, or whether you want to go on a special night out,
Yeah.
and you can order something like this. Or business to business,
Yeah.
if you are Air France and you want to pick up your customer in a business class environment,
Yes.
his journey starts at the bottom of the stairs, you know.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting for, like you said, for hotels, but for resorts. Frankly, choosing between the RER and this, I think you have it's not a bad choice, you know,
No,
to
it's-
be in here.
And it makes total sense in that kind of a situation. Get a load of that. The Renault Easy Ultimo, the third and the final vehicle in this trilogy of fully autonomous electric pod-like creatures. That one, remember, was the first one, the Easy Go. But for me, the one that I think is probably the most relevant to this setup, the one I think will probably go into production first, is this one, the Easy Pro, which can either be some sort of mobile barista style coffee shop or last mile delivery vehicle. That really works for me. Once again, thanks very much for watching Fully Charged. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you thinking? Click the subscribe button and that bell button which alerts you to all the new episodes. Au revoir, as they say in these sorts of places.